Are you tired of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh? Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.
This is How Do You Love Me When I'm Down? And this is a fantastic song from a band from New York, W-2. And we have here the main members, singer and guitarist. We have Joe as the vocalist, and we have Phil as the guitarist. So, hello. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Hey, so how do you love me when I'm down? This is fantastic song, and it has everything. It has all the instruments, it has all the melody. Take the floor.
It's one of those songs that when we started it, we were looking to do something that kind of had like almost like a vaudevillian kind of, music hall quality to it.
It does. Yes. This is Joe, right? Talking?
This is Joe.
So how about your voice? This is incredible. What do you do? I mean, how many years? All the years to get to this incredible level.
Well, that is super kind of you. That is super kind of you. You know what? I'm just so lucky that, I get to do this. Years ago, I just always enjoyed writing lyrics, and I was very fortunate enough to kind of, always hook up with people who said, "Oh, I don't want to sing it, you sing it." and from there on, history was written. No, I'm lucky, I do work at it. I try to improve as I go along, but I've just been very fortunate over the years that people actually seem to want to listen to me sing. So they haven't told me to shut up yet.
Okay, well, Phil, what is your part on this song, on this project? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm really the I'm the idea guy. I'll come up with a concept. I'll hear something. I'll sit down and noodle in the office one night, and I'm kind of like, a riff will come, a part will come, and this track really began with just like layering guitar tracks of the main riff that goes behind the chorus. So it kind of began with that, and it kind of built off that. It didn't really start off with that vaudevillian feeling. But by the time we got, the song panned itself out, and we got, our horn section involved, the horn section really just kind of took the song over the top. We were really blessed to work with this fantastic horn player, Pete Bloom. He takes our music and kind of, if I can get it to 5 on the scale, we're in good place. Because I know when Pete comes in, he'll take it from 5 to 10, So we kind of blessed to go through that process. So, I'll come up with an idea, I'll hand it to Joe, he'll give me the, he'll give us a vocal, he'll give us a lyric, and then, the musicians get involved and really put the icing on the cake.
Just following up on what Phil was saying there, it really is a partnership where, with Phil, when he comes up with the initial idea of the demo, and he sends me the demo, and I'll listen to it, and it's like the idea of like a sculptor given a piece of marble, and it's like the song reveals itself. You start chipping away at the marble, and then the idea for the vocal melody and the lyrics start to come out of it. It's almost like it starts writing itself after a while. You work at it, and then all of a sudden you have these aha moments of like, oh, this is what the song's about. You get an idea of what the vocal melody is, and then all of a sudden it starts to fall into place, and the lyrics start coming to you, and you start coming up with like a theme and a concept, and it really is a partnership where, Phil will have the initial demo idea they sent me, which is really, really polished. It's filled with great hooks and really provides a great catalyst, a launching pad for me to start thinking about, oh, where's this song going to go? And then as I start thinking of like, oh, I got a lyric idea, I got a vocal melody idea, then I'll pitch it to Phil, and we'll start talking about the themes, and I'll give him an idea of like what the vocal melody sounds like. He's like, yeah. And then we can do this afterwards. We'll add another hook in here. And then, of course, like Phil was just saying, we had like a concept of, maybe what this song would sound like, and gave it over to Pete Bloom. And when he started adding his horns on there, I said, oh my God, this is a ragtime vaudeville music hall song. And it just took it to a whole new level. Like, it really just, again, like Phil said, it was the icing on the cake. It really just it elevates the song to a whole new level.
I love it. I love the way you describe it. And it really happens like that. I would ask you, how do you go about figuring out the part of the discovery? How do you go about, figuring out the melodies or the lyrics? Are you more of that type of, the phonetically person that really just try to find what fits with the rhythm and the melodies? Do you do the other way? Like you start with the lyrics first? How do you go about that?
It's funny. It's kind of a little back and forth, a little bit of both. Usually, when I first initially listen to the song, I am trying to kind of come up with like a vocal melody, not really the words themselves, but like a general sense of what this melody is going to sound like. And then as I'm listening to it, I'm kind of trying to picture in my mind the images that are coming to my mind that tell the story of what's happening in this song. And what happens is I kind of come across maybe a phrase, maybe like it's a line within the verse, or maybe it's the hook line to the chorus. And sometimes it's Phil and I were talking about things, and we'll be like, it'd be a really good line here would be, we'll just pitch a line to each other. We'll say, oh, that's a really cool sounding line. That would work really well. And also, I tend to be somebody who likes to write lots of lyrics and I keep lots of notes. And sometimes I'll say, oh, I have this really cool phrase. I don't know what song it's going to go into, but I'll just keep it in my notebook. And you never know, it might fit into a song one day. And sometimes that happens too. And a lot of times, as you're discovering the melody or as you're discovering some of the verse lyrics, and you're trying to figure out who are these characters in the song and what are they trying to say to each other, all of a sudden, it starts to reveal itself again. Like, one line creates the next line, which creates the next line. And it is a lot of back and forth. This line works really good. This next line, not so much. And you do try to complement the song itself. You want to leave, enough air around the vocal that the music gets to really stand out, and the music gets to, the music gets to sing. The guitar gets this moment. You can hear the actual song itself. And the vocal should complement what's going on and be part of that, like another instrument within the song.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Perfect description. I think it makes total sense. That's, it's how it works. And so you've been working. This is not the first time the both of you work together, right? You have had other projects in the past and working together for about 20 years, right?
So Joe and I met. Joe and I obviously we have lives outside the music business, and our wives work together, and we met through that through a wives working situation. And we found very quickly found that we shared a passion for all that kind of music. And we looked at different projects. Some worked, some didn't work. But, Joe and I connected, and we began to write together. And I said, this is over 20 years ago now when we started this process. And said, this is our third album. First two with a project we call S2N. And we had, 2 albums, did a bunch of live stuff, open for some national acts, that kind of stuff.
Really? Wow.
And then Joe and I, the whole lockdown piece obviously comes into this process because the world kind of shut down, and we started to deal with all the emotions that we were experiencing at that time, and that's really what pushed us into this project of a way just to kind of like, we got to find a way to express some of these stuff and some of these things we're dealing with here. So this album that we're just wrapping up now, as we just wrapped up, is it's really it's a series of expressions of our journey through the lockdown. So it's a kind of cool, it takes on this whole cool personal aspect to it as well.
Absolutely,
That's an amazing story. How do you want to talk more about that? Like, it seems like when you had some quiet time or some, when the world was in silence, then you found each other back to create this project. Do you want to talk more about that situation?
Yeah, we really were in a live situation at that moment. Really the month before lockdown happened, we were on stage at the Chance, playing to 1,000 people. Maybe a little bit less than that at the Chance, but still, it was, to a big crowd. So we were all about the live situation at that point. And obviously that gets ripped away from you, and there's no opportunity to do that, and still really a very few opportunities to do that. So that really drove us, to like, we can't let this go. A lot of our musician friends were not doing stuff at that point. But Joe and I were recording, and we kind of looked at each other like, I know this guy, and he's set up to record. And we know Joe, a drummer, a trumpet player, a violin player, all these people in different corners of the world were kind of available and home and looking to do something. And we had some content that we were looking to talk about, some issues we were working our way through that we wrote about. And the whole thing came together through that process. It's really cool, really, really cool for us.
Yeah. I remember Phil said something to me very early on when we were talking about this and thinking about, when we were first talking about writing new songs and what we were feeling during the pandemic. And you're kind of feeling like, we feel like we're locked down. Like Phil was saying, we were out playing, we were writing new music and everything, and all of a sudden the world shut down around us. And we're like, you know what? We really have a lot going on in our heads right now. This could be a great catharsis for us to be able to write what we're feeling, what we're seeing going on around us. And, like Phil said, we were just really fortunate that we had a few musician friends who were going through the same thing. We always had these talented friends in our circle that were doing different projects, and we were like, all sitting down in our homes, Zooming each other, and we're like, oh, record at home too. We can record at home. We've always wanted to collaborate on something. Let's do it. This is the perfect time. So, Phil, he knew Sharon Sullivan over in England playing violin. We both knew Pete Bloom, who was a fantastic classically trained trumpet player, who plays with tons of bands. And luckily, we also knew, I had a friend, Brian Doherty, who happened to be a drummer who he toured around the world back in the 80s with They Might Be Giants. He also played with XTC, Frank Black, and a bunch of other guys. So, we had all these collective, these wonderful, talented friends collectively who were itching to play and do something. And we said, okay, let's start with a song. Let's do something. What should we write about? Well, let's write about what we're going through. What was the first song we wrote? Was Social Distance. We're all in the lockdown. We all have to social distance from each other. But, when it turned out, when we wrote the song and we started thinking about the concept of the song, and as the lyrics started, coming together, I said, this song, Social Distance, really isn't about being distant. It's really about being, looking forward to being together again. So a song called Social Distance really is a song about coming back together.
Beautiful.
Phil, what was the next song we wrote? Closer, which is also about getting back together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we had a theme going on.
But you're right, Joe. As you go through the album, I'm going to say 80% of the album has this theme of, distance and separation. And it kind of reflected where the world was with COVID. I mean, we're not really big political activists, that kind of stuff, but you can start to look outside of COVID and say where the world has been. And the world has been, are we apart, are we together? And those are the conversations that are happening in the world. And it kind of ties into the themes of our songs here, which really kind of get into that, we want to be closer. Joe and I want to be closer to people than we want to be further away from people. And those themes kind of reflected what's happening in the world and what's happening in COVID and what's happening in our own homes and our own families, the experiences our own families are having, all have this common link of right now we're forced to be closer, but we want to be out. So it kind of reflected all those aspects.
We were talking about it, I think, Phil, you said it to me once before. He said, we really have a bunch of songs here that are really about relationships, And
right.
Again, it's about, wanting to create unity, of wanting to bring people together, even though we're forced to be apart, wanting to be together, even though maybe sometimes in this world there's political division or, different things going on, social unrest and stuff like that. When it comes down to it, people are people and they all want to be together. 99% of what they want to do is live in peace and happiness and watch their children grow up and grow old, and you just want to have a little money put away so you can take maybe a nice little vacation and have a little joy in your life. And you know what? A lot of what we write about is about, love, affection, caring, connectivity, unity. And sometimes, some of the lyrics that might seem a little darker on its surface, when you're talking about like a song like Ghost Town, and you're talking, the first line is like, this town has turned into a ghost town. Empty streets, there's no one else around. So it's a real haunting line at the beginning. It sounds kind of dark and ominous. But then when you get to the end in the chorus, it's all about if we could just join hands, right? If we could just shine a little light in this world, if we could just join hands and share a little love. It's about bringing people together. It's like we're not so different. We're not so far apart. And it's important to reflect on that. I think, we always try to write songs that, we want them to sound good. We want them to be something we want to listen to. And hopefully if we like them, somebody else is going to want to listen to them too.
I want to listen to them.
That's great to hear. And that's the thing. We hope that, they'll be something that somebody connects with somebody else. And that's what really matters to us. It's like we're trying to express ourselves and hope that someone out there, go, oh, wow, that really means something to me. Or, yeah, I really dig that. Or if anything, that's a cool sounding song. That sounds really good.
Absolutely. I love it. The themes are about uniting. And,
right.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off there, but even How Do You Love Me, when you listen, because I know you were just talking about that song, you introduced us with that, and when you listen to it, funny kind of campy lyric, purposely so. I mean, it's meant to be a bit of tongue-in-cheek with the lyric. I'll meet for drinks at World War III. I'll meet you for drinks at World War III. It's definitely meant to be a pretty funny lyric, but the whole idea, again, is how do you love me when I'm down? Even though sometimes, down in the dumps or not feeling the greatest, or I could be making mistakes, or I could do something to tick you off, or something, or something's not going my way and I'm having a bad day, or things might not be going the best right now. How do you still love me? And that person saying to themselves, I can't believe I'm so lucky that you love me.
It's true, right?
And it's almost like an appreciation, it's an appreciation.
It is, and I love the themes and the topics that you're mentioning. It's always welcome. We need more of this. We need more of positivity. and optimism.
Positivity, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, Phil and I 100% agree. We've often said that. That's what we like to bring.
Also, we did we did all the work on this ourselves, including the mastering process. And in part of the mastering software that we ended up using to put the final CD and collection songs together, one of the boxes you had to fill in was, what's the theme of this song, or what's the theme of the album? Which I kind of struck me. I guess this is something we had thought about, and you ended up filling that box and saying, we are all more alike than we are different.
It's true.
That's what I put in. That's what we had. That's what I filled into that box, and that really, bring that from all those different levels, family level. That all ties into the themes that you'll see in these songs.
It does, and at the end, talking with so many musicians and artists and songwriters, the common topic is, in a way, is very similar to your song. We want to be loved, and we want to be loved. We want to be loved by what we do best, and this is creating music, and we want to share it, and we want people to like it.
Amen.
Amen is right. That's exactly it. That's why, when we're talking about, I think we said before, you're creating something that never existed before until you made it, and all you want to do is share it with somebody and hope it resonates in some way. And maybe it makes somebody's day a little bit better, or makes somebody say, oh, I feel like that too. Or again, maybe it's just something they like to put on and turn up the volume and, hey, that's just a cool sounding song. Well, you know what? It is. It's about being creative and wanting to share it. We want to get it in front of people.
Exactly. So this is a good segue to ask you, what are the plans to play live or to shows, or what's the plans for that?
Phil, you want to take that?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, our journey has been, going from live to this recording situation. And, we really picked it up from a band type moment to just Joe and I. And now we kind of start to look forward and go okay, now we need to bring this back to a band situation. But really the musicians that we recorded this with, are not necessarily close by. They're not necessarily local people all the time. So now we think okay, so now we have to start bringing, think about musicians that are local and people that we can take this together with, and what goals we want to set. I think we've done our time in local bars. I think we like stages, and we like playing for people who want to see live music or coming to see live music. I think one of our goals, hopefully, will be to get into local festivals and those kind of things. This summer would be great. If not this summer, then certainly by the following summer. But we certainly have musicians around that we hope to be able to take these songs out live with. That's for sure.
Beautiful. Okay, so we'll think for we'll plan and we'll look forward for the festivals either this year or next year, and. About the recording process, who's responsible? Who puts it together? How you all do yourself? How do you go about?
Phil, that's all you, Phil.
So I'm definitely producer of this stuff. So I'm the hub of the wheel, if you like. So again, I'll create the demos. I'll send the demos out to Joe. I'll come back. I'll take his vocal and put it back into what becomes the master session. I'll put the demo out to the drummer, who will give me back his stems, and I'll drop those into the session. And then by the end, I've got all the horns, violins, keyboards, whoever the person is who's giving me the pieces that are going on the track. I will then just bring those pieces together and produce a mix that we kind of like. So it's different to what I've done before. I don't think it's a novel concept from what I'm hearing, in other people's interviews and reading. I think a lot of people have kind of gone through this process, big names and small names, are working this way now. It's the way the world works. But it's absolutely astonishing that you can create decent sounding music with in your home. Absolutely astonishing.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, if Billie Eilish can do it, so can we, right?
That's right.
You know,
Look,
I
it's always been this way. It's just that now the machines are smaller and cheaper and they fit in your house.
Right? Yeah.
Before
I
it
mean,
wa-
trust us. When we started off, the machines weren't so small, and it took a few guys to move those machines. When we were doing,
Absolutely.
right.
you know, reel-to-reel 8-track recordings and the big mixing desk and everything. And also, we would be paying for studio time, or you have to be doing late hours to find a rehearsal space and try to get everybody together on the same night. This is such a great benefit to artists and musicians everywhere around the world that they're able to just. I can work with somebody in England. I can work with somebody in New Jersey. I can work with somebody in California. As long as I know there's somebody out there who wants to play music and wants to contribute and be part of this, hey, they can do it. As long as they can record themselves and they can become part of this project, there's so much great opportunity. And you know what? We're just very fortunate to do this, being stuck in a lockdown, that again, we were able to create something positive, what would be perceived as a very negative situation, and a lot of negative things that people were going through at that time. And, we were able to actually, do something that was creative and positive and made us feel a lot of joy and happiness.
That's humanity. We adapt, we survive,
Yeah.
and especially people like yourselves, trying to bring more positivity when it's most needed. And that's absolutely commendable and very, very appreciated.
So one of the interesting things is that we found that we approached this project with that mindset of unity, and let's come together and do something. And it's probably the first time I've come to a project where it's not been in the back of your mind, maybe this is the thing that will make me something. Be seen by somebody or recognized by somebody for being good in some way. That whole part of the psychology of most musicians who do what we do. But I think we came to this from not that mindset at all. We're like, let's just be creative and do something good here. And as we've gone through this process, the number of times we've taken these twists and turns that we just keep meeting people and having these interactions with people, which reflect that. For an example, Joe and I, we got we'd ordered CDs to give out to people at the album, and we happened to meet for a beer at a bar in Armonk late last week, and as we sat there, we were just looking at the disc. It's the first time we put our eyes on the physical product itself, and people could see our enthusiasm and excitement and approached us to want to know what we were doing. And we were sitting there having a drink and talking in the reality. Now, we didn't look for that. We weren't desiring that, but we attracted it just because we had this aspect of positivity in what we're doing. And the multiple other interactions we've had over the last 18 months as we've done this, which kind of have been that, which is the thing that in your mind you always strive for. Oh, somebody recognize me. Somebody think I'm this. Somebody think I'm that, which is all BS at the end of the day. But it's always very interesting that finally, by the time we came to a project from this human perspective, which is let's just do something good and just help people, and let's just do something to help ourselves on just a human level, is when we've actually attracted most interest.
Absolutely. Yep. Totally great.
Absolutely. Well, all right. So once again, we have W-2 is the project, is the band. We have Phil, guitarist and producer, and we have Joe, is the singer, vocalist, lyricist, and we're listening to "How Do You Love Me When I'm Down."
I got a little shout out. If anybody wants to hear our stuff, if they're looking to find ways to connect with us, they want to connect with our social media, or ever find out if we're doing gigs and stuff like that, or hear some of our other songs, they can just go to w2.hearnow.com. So it's W2 ARNOW.com. So W2hearnow.com, and they'll actually be able to hear the whole entire album and find all our videos and everything through the links.
Beautiful. So w2.hearnow.com. Is that right?
You got it.
Okay, wonderful. The album is Four Corners of a Circle. Is that right?
That's right.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so, you know, these two musicians for the long run, a lot of experience, you know, trying to create positivity out of, you know, a negative experience. That's what we all need. We need a lot of that. We need a lot of good music with a positive message. We got it. You got it here with W-2. And, you know, thank you guys. It's been fantastic. So let's do it again.
Jose, really, really enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Likewise. All the best. So, all right, we'll stay in touch. And for now, we're going to enjoy a little bit more of How Do You Love Me When I'm Down?
Of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh. Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.